care about the house. Honestly, don't even look at the house.
Price is only an issue in the absence of value.
It creates a little bit of urgency. It gets them to lean in a little bit, and that's all they want. They just want it all for, what do you pay for my house? What do you pay for my house?
Here's what I've discovered, Lucas, is the face-to-face guys make more money. The virtual guys make more contracts.
Yeah, I can see that. No doubt.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Leads to Deals podcast, where we're going to talk about everything from leads to deals, and everything we talk about definitely leads to deals. I believe you're here right now because you're obsessed with leveling up your game, dominating sales, mastering persuasion, and skyrocketing your financial success. We got somebody that I've had the luxury of the past of being on his awesome podcast. He's a leader in his community, a prominent figure in the real estate industry, known for really like his extensive experience in property investment and management. He serves as the owner and CEO of Faster House, a St. Louis-based, one of my favorite markets, St. Louis-based company specialized in purchasing homes for cash. He's also the founder of the FasterFreedom community. So I want to welcome to our podcast, Lucas Wells, brother. Thank you for coming on today, man.
Yeah, Scott, thanks for having me. Like I said, happy to return the favor. Thank you for being on ours a few months ago, but let's get it today.
Dude, let's get it, man. I just talked to you a little bit off screen. I was like, dude, we'll see each other in Dallas. So how long have you been in the Collective Genius community?
Yeah, just past 6 years. So 2018 December was our first event, my man.
Nice. Okay, cool, man. So here's what I know about your market. I love your market. I tell people there was a period of time where it was hands down, bar none, St. Louis was my favorite market in the entire nation. Are you predominantly investing and buying in the Missouri, or are you also in other markets?
No, predominantly in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Face-to-face or virtual?
Face-to-face.
Okay, cool. Walk me through how you've debated that. Have you always been face-to-face this entire time, Lucas? Did you guys ever do virtual, and did you ever peek into other markets?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. We track our market share a lot. So we're probably the biggest player in St. Louis here, but we know we still have deeper to go, right? And we've always been face-to-face. So we're going to go deeper before we go into another market, whether it's in person in another market or virtual. We still feel like we can kind of double up what we're doing here and get really good and just dominate St. Louis. And then we'll kind of look at what it looks like going virtual or going boots on the ground in another market.
Well, for the guys and gals that are out there that have the luxury of being, face-to-face or virtual, when you think about strategy and you're talking to somebody who's starting out and they're in their coaching community, what are the advantages that you know for sure exist in your sales cycle because you guys are face-to-face over a guy who's potentially trying to call into your community?
Yeah, so we kind of scorch the earth, right? We're there in appointments and they got some virtual wholesaler talking to them over the phone. And we know more than likely. So we're going to close 95% of the deals that we contract. So that makes us a little unique. Even if we can't dispo it with an assignment or a wholesale, we're going to take it down and try to sell it off market or rehab it and sell it. So we have construction, we can pay a little higher, and we just kind of scorch the earth with those virtual wholesalers. And, we do that a lot. And, but honestly, I don't want them in the market. Come on, give it your best shot, but we're gonna win 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of psychological reasons why you're able to position your offer so much better. But let's just talk about what's behind his words, scorch the earth. What he's really saying is he's going to just point out facts. And the facts is that most virtual wholesalers or investors are canceling 8 out of 10 deals. It's just happening. There's no other way of putting it. And so when he's saying numbers like, hey, 95% of the contracts that we put our blue signature on, we don't waste the customer's time. We actually fulfill on what it is that the customer expects them to receive. And so conviction is everything in sales. If I can make you, Mr. Seller, feel how I feel about my company or my product or my services, I will earn that person's business. And so all he's doing when he says scorch the earth is really just being honest and transparent. The other guys that you talk to either bring their deals to me, which means I'm buying this either which way, Mr. Seller.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who ultimately buys everything in town.
Yeah.
So by working with some of these other guys who it's not their money, you're having to pay more, or you're having to have a more of a reduced price so that way they can do it. Or these guys aren't familiar enough to make an offer that matters.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's not challenging, because a lot of these virtual guys just don't know the market, number one. So they're going to overpay with loads of contingencies, right? And it's kind of hard to compete with that. But hey, we just say, hey, if you're comfortable with this, take it, and then we'll see you back here in 2 weeks when they can't sell it.
So let me ask you this: when you get somebody in your market, and let's say what are your favorite marketing channels? I just saw one of your report. I think that you're doing like SEO. You got some cold call. You're doing on market, so you're buying off the MLS. Walk us through right now in your business, Lucas. What are the current marketing channels that you're in? Let's start there.
Yeah, I love it. So we do about 300 deals a year. We'll do 300 deals this year. About 2/3 of those, so 200 of them, come from relationship-based networking and connections within the community. 200 of them don't come from paid sources. So all of our acquisition managers have metrics that they have to hit when it comes to building relationships and getting new connectors in the funnel. Coffees, meet and greets, REI, meetups, other expos within the real estate industry that they have to go to, that they can source their own leads. So that's about 2/3 of our business. 1/3 of our business is the paid channels, right? We do direct mail. We have 2 cold callers in-house now. SEO, we've been building out our website for 10 plus years. PPC, stuff like that, the main stuff.
So I see a guy like you, I say, okay, St. Louis, great middle America market.
Yeah.
People are friendly on the phone there. I love to generate there, but also too, handshakes matter.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to go too deep on this, but the reality is the face-to-face guys, I think, here's what I've discovered, Lucas, is the face-to-face guys make more money. The virtual guys make more contracts.
Yeah, I can see that. No doubt. And you're right. St. Louis, it's, about 3 million MSA. So, but it's a small town. So if you go back on your word, your handshake agreement that you talked about here in St. Louis, that word spreads quick. So our reputation is everything.
Yeah. And so for everybody out there, KPIs, if you're in the REI space, KPIs are everything, right? It's the only way you'll ever grow. You can't inspect your numbers, then you'll never be able to improve your numbers. But what Lucas has different than the virtual guys out there, because I play in both of these ponds, is he's got an extra KPI, which is leads to appointments, appointments to shows, shows to contracts. Versus the virtual guys, it's a little bit more linear. It's just leads, contracts. How many leads did I get and how many contracts?
Yep.
And everybody's got the same funding on the back end.
100%.
So everybody out there who wants to now be like, you know what, man, I'm in my market. I hear you guys are getting bigger spreads. I hear you're having less fallout. I'm willing to invest the time. Walk me through what you're doing to justify setting an appointment. Like, how do I know that I want to take a closer, or do we go to every house, period, and then we make our assessment while we're there?
Yeah, so our lead managers are getting real dialed in, and they're in all the sales training that our closers are in. So they're getting super dialed in, but their job is to set the appointment, period. If there's any sort of motivation, set the appointment. And then we have some confirmation and follow-ups that come from our acquisition manager. So they have the skill and knowledge to properly vet that and figure out if it's worth the half an hour drive to go to the appointment.
So if you're doing face-to-face investing, wholesaling, I want you to listen to this next answer. How far out? What is the latest that they can set an appointment for a closer to come to the house?
Oh, man. Gosh, I mean, we sooner the better, right? Sooner
Amen.
the better. And a lot of times we set it whenever they want, right?
Yep.
And then we follow up with the sales closer and try to get it pushed up as soon as possible.
Amen.
So really the first one is as soon as possible, but kind of whenever they want. And then we try to get it pushed up as soon as possible in the back.
So what he didn't say is, hey, we allow them to set it out 3 weeks and then forget about it.
That's
so no matter
happening.
what it is that we're doing, when you're in face-to-face sales, number one, speed to lead is not a phrase that just rhymes that people say. No, it's because it's a truth. It's a universal truth of this industry. But also money loves speed. And so guys and gals, if you're setting an appointment, your objective is then and now. It is now. And also if you care about your seller, I know that the market shifts. And I should have a compassionate heart that I want to be able to provide them an offer that makes sense as quick as possible before it shifts. And then things have to change in the opposite direction. We kind of have a thing when we set face-to-face appointments and we're working in that vertical. It's like, I want to try to get it within the next like 3 to 5 business days maximum.
Yeah.
I'll set a callback to reschedule it, but I love creating that urgency of like, hey, listen, we have somebody who's already going to be in the community tomorrow. It looks like he's got a 2, maybe a 4. I assume one of those will work for you. But we want to create urgency and scarcity in the same time, which is, hey, I want to set an appointment, but by the way, I'm looking at another property in your area. And once I buy that one, I'm not going to be interested in yours. Who wants to go first, the chicken or the egg? Because I'm going to do one of these 2 things. And so I think that sometimes helps with setting appointments.
I think that's, and when we say that exact same thing when you talk about being in the area. And the thing is, we're not just making it up. We just go round robin with our sellers, with our acquisition managers, but we have their calendars right in front of us and where they're going to be at any particular time. And we can shift around if an acquisition manager is going to be in that area sooner in order to hit that appointment sooner. But appointments in face-to-face, they're the number one metric that we track. The more appointments we get, the more contracts we get. And we're always trying to, improve that ratio. But that if we know how many appointments we get a week per acquisition manager, whether it's on the seller connection side or the networking side, we can really scale our business and get it consistent and repeatable.
So, Lucas, you would have loved to have been in one of my calls or trainings the other day. I was trying to really drill into this concept that's been floating in my head that I've been working through, the difference between a motivator and being motivated. Because what'll happen is we'll generate a lead and they're like, oh my gosh, I just talked to Glenn Smith. Glenn Smith inherited a house, and they'll walk me through all the factual motivator flags. And they're like, this is a motivated lead. So you want to know the reason and the only way that this is a motivated lead is when he's excited to talk to the next person. When he is motivated and he is looking forward to that next interaction, that is a motivated lead. Now, I want him to have those motivator flags because now there's a problem and we can be a solution. But if he inherited a house and he's not excited to talk to Lucas Wells, well, then how damn motivated is he?
I love that.
And so that's what we look for. We want him to be motivated. And so I think about this when it comes to you guys that are primarily face-to-face. The thing that I struggle with the most, and I want to know your solution, sales guy locking up 300 deals. I find it very hard to make a closer better when the conversation isn't recorded.
Yeah.
So how are you as a CEO, when your guy walks back into the office and he's got his clipboard in his head, but his head's a little down like this, and he walks in like this. He's not walking in like this. When he's walking in down, how do you help him make his pitch better when, in fact, you don't know verbatim what he was saying during his pitch?
That's a great point. And we actually don't record our closers calls. We record our lead management calls, and we've been really focused on that to try to get those dialed in. But we have, with our sales training process, we have multiple calls a week, and we're walking through every deal that we didn't get and role-playing how we could have done that better.
There you go. Yeah, I got it. That's literally, for me, it's the only way to bridge that gap is an exhaustive amount of role-playing. So that way I know what we're saying in this room, and it's second nature when you're saying it in their living room.
Yes.
So let's walk through some of your role-playing. What's some of the things that you've been covering and role-playing lately there and the FasterFreedom community?
Oh, yeah. So we're doing the NEPQ type of emotional-based sales training, right? So I think we're going through Jeremy Miner's program right now. It's been fantastic. So
excellent.
Yeah, it's been excellent. So pretty much, I guess the main thing where our guys have struggled in the past is giving an offer too early, period. And if they're not ready to sell and you haven't overcome every other obstacle, do not give a price. That is the only thing that you have that they don't have and they want. You hold on to that as long as freaking possible.
And what's the psychology behind holding on to that? What do you think?
Oh, man, it creates a little bit of urgency. It gets them to lean in a little bit. And that's all they want. They just want it offered. What do you pay for my house? What do you pay for my house? And really, most of the time, price is not as important as they think it is. Right? They'll say it is, but they have other factors going on in their life that if you can solve those, the price is kind of doesn't matter as much to them.
I want to give a shout out to Kent Clothier. Kent Clothier. I'm part of Boardroom as well, too. He said this quote, first time I ever met him in Tennessee, and I said, that's why I like this guy right here. He said a quote that would have made me millions of more dollars in the past. I had never heard it in all my sales things. But he said, price is only an issue in the absence of value.
Love that.
The moment I heard that, I said, let me wait for the next guy who's bitching about underwriting.
Yes.
Oh, I can't believe they told me it wasn't. Well, the reason why is you didn't build enough value. We exchange value for equity. This is what we do every single day. We exchange the value that I'm going to provide you for the equity that I need. And you hit it right on the head. It's like price really isn't the thing. It's these other items that we're covering.
Yeah. I think value comes in many shapes and forms depending on what your strategy is, but speed and convenience, obviously. But there's an appointment that our lead manager set outside my office the other day, and maybe she wanted to sell her house, but we went into it like how she was talking about remodeling. She got an insurance check and wanted to remodel, and she wanted a quote on her basement, right? And I was like, let's go to this house. We can buy this house. And as long as we provide value and show her how much it's going to cost to actually do this, why don't you just take that insurance check, walk away, and sell the house to us, and you can go move on. So I love that. Value comes in all different shapes and sizes, and we start with that. We have a phrase in our office called unreasonable hospitality. How above and beyond we can go for each of our sellers. And if we do that, we're going to win every time.
Ooh, I love it. I was thinking back to what we were just saying, and it gave me the analogy of, you ever see the cartoon with the donkey has got the carrot dangling in front of them?
Yeah.
If all of a sudden you let him grab it on the first time he goes to eat it, the donkey's going to stop.
Yep.
You no longer are leading him. And that's what happens when you give the price too early.
For sure.
My price goes at the end of my presentation because I need to do discovery. I need to find hot buttons. I need to push on those hot buttons. I need to build value. And when you give it too early, you stop the donkey before it goes down the trail.
Yeah. And of course, you want to get a contract when you're in the house. But if you haven't uncovered and went through everything, do not give that price. Do not give it. Just because it's at the end of the appointment doesn't mean you have to give the price at.
Yeah. Also, it flies in the face of, I get a lot of guys. And so there's a guy, God, I can't believe I'm having a brain freeze right a second. He's got the big beard in the space. He's super cool, dude. I've been on his podcast. If somebody's off stage, you can message me because anyways, he's part of like Brent Daniels and that crew. RJ Bates, my man, RJ Bates. Thank you. So super cool guy. I really love his sales style. I know a lot of people successful with it, but he's got like almost a 7-minute and less pitch, if you will. It's really, really fast. And for me, it just goes against, not saying that it's wrong, but it's not my ethos. Like I want to make sure I've gone through every part in my process almost before I even ask what their price is. Like finding out their price is proper discovery for sure. But I don't give a shit about their price. I don't care of what they want until I know what their needs are and I can be able to show them the value. And you've never gone to any presentation where they just, for the most part, hit you the price up front. You're always building value, understanding the product, and then the price at the end.
For sure. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. So let's go back to this face-to-face. I'm in the house. How are you guys underwriting while you're in the house? If it's just a closer, is a closer really fucking capable of making a cash offer? So how do you guys know what your MAO is going to be while you're in the house?
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we got the appointment set and we do as much underwriting as we can before we go to the house, right? Dig in, try to find ARB. We got specs of the house, obviously. And based off of what they told us about the house, we can kind of come up with a little rehab budget. And then when we're at the house, we just make tweaks. Say, is there a finished basement with another bedroom down there to increase ARV to X? Is there a little more repairs where your rehab budget's further? So that's how we do. We do as much as we can up front. So the closer has as much tools that they need to go into that, and they have full autonomy to do it without leadership approval.
Sure.
But if we lose on that house, they get a ding for it. They have to come up with a little extra of the loss that way. But if we get leadership approval, what a lot of maybe like a newer guy will do, will run out to the truck and be like, hey, I'm going to button up my rehab budget real quick. Give us a call. We'll go through it, get an offer. They go in and close it.
Nice. I love that. And what that speaks to is the quality of training, because you're trusting them with a loaded gun. So for the guys and gals that are out there, just to see through what's behind that is very rarely would you trust somebody to make an offer on your behalf who's newer or whatever, but they're setting some foundation, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're setting like kind of like a bar, if you will, and they're able to make an offer up to that bar unless they find something that drastically would bring it down. But you're given the autonomy to kind of work on the fly there. Even if they have the autonomy, do they go in there as the big dog, or do they always talk about the back office and my underwriting team? And so do we have somebody else that we can negotiate against on behalf of the seller?
Yeah, we do this. We do that a lot. You know, it depends on the personality of the seller and in the deal and nuances. But they use us as the bad guy a lot.
As they should. As they should.
Yeah, it's definitely worked.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot. I believe in like a fronter closer model. And that's like what I do here in my call center. I'm a fronter. You guys are the closer. But even for the closer, I believe a closer, and in your guys' industry, an underwriter. And a car industry, it's the finance guy. In the solar industry, it's the power approval. Like there's always that second layer. And this becomes really important, I believe, in sales psychology, because they are going to tell your closer a lie. Again, buyers are liars, sellers are worse. And when they tell the closer in the first few minutes, I'd never take less than 150 for this, never in a million years. I know how you guys work. And then all of a sudden at the end, you got to be less than 150. They're locked into this lie with this person. Now, when that lie can be either be told to broken with a second voice or a back office, and now it's no longer, they're not locked into it anymore. And so having that other voice or having that persona, even if they never talk to that persona, to negotiate against, it just opens them up and away from their initial lie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. That's well said, Scott. I don't have much to add to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think too about people who get the price early. You know, when the customer wants a price from you, it's always a great time to get their price, right? You know what I mean? And so when people are harassing our guys like for a price, we say, hey, we kind of defer them a little bit too. No, I completely understand. I want to make sure we're going to make a number that makes sense to us and we can live up to. But you must have a number that you're thinking or whatever it may be. But the point of this exercise is to give the listeners a little gem. One of my favorite words in all of sales is interesting. So Lucas, whenever we get a price from the seller and they're like, I want 150,000 from it, we're like, interesting. Where'd you come up with that number? And it's so amazing because it doesn't say it's too high. It doesn't say it's too low.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that if you walked in with blue hair tomorrow, people don't want to offend somebody. Say, oh man, interesting haircut. Interesting haircut.
Yeah.
And so anyways, we do these small little innuendos, these tactics, et cetera, to kind of deflect and navigate to the call to try to get to the real meat and potatoes, which is the problem solution that we're looking for. So anyways, we're in the house. We're presenting how long is your average guy at the average house? From the moment he knocks on the door till if he's successful and locks up a contract there, how long is that average pitch?
Oh, wow. I would say, when back in the day when I used to do it, I would, I don't care about the house. Honestly, don't even look at the house. They probably want to give me a tour, and there's a lot of cool stuff that they had from their childhood. Maybe they used to sneak out this window in the bedroom as a kid if there's a parent's house. So I just listen to their stories, right? And I don't even really think about rehab budget at that point. So that particular part could take half hour before you even dig into the house. So what we have noticed, the longer number two sides of this, from a lead manager standpoint, the longer they're on the phone, the better chance we have to buy the house. The longer we're in the house, the better chance we have to buy the house. So a good appointment for us, I would say, would be anywhere from, 30 minutes to an hour. But there's been times we've sat there for 3 hours to get a contract.
I have on my wall, and you'll hear other people repeat this, and they're liars. They did not come up with this. I tell you exactly where. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell it for the first time everywhere. But I have on my wall here, and I've watched now other people pick up, and I respect it. But it takes time to take homes. Yeah. That is a mantra here in our company. And so I knew you weren't going to say, hey, the quicker or the better ones. No, it's the ones where we spent more time with them on the phone. We've vetted them out. Yeah. We've gone through the process. We've built rapport. We've built value. So the longer you take, the better. And I came up with that because when I was 20 years old, I got a job selling timeshare. And which is like you're selling air. You're selling $20,000 worth of air at 17.9% over 10 years, which is
the best salespeople ever.
Yeah, it was savagery, and I didn't know any better, and so I jumped right into it. But we used to always say it takes time to sell time, dude. We would spend 4, 5 hours. We would promise them the whole pitch, Lucas, would be 90 minutes long. We weren't allowed to return them to the actual sales floor for 90 minutes. We would have to drive them around town for 90 minutes. The whole presentation, we would literally just do car discovery for 90 minutes, then property discovery, and then all this other stuff. But I witnessed, like, some of it's you're wearing down your opponent like a long boxing match.
Yeah.
Small portion. But the other part is, by the time you know everything, you know their sex life, you know what they hate about their kids, you know what they're doing in their dreams and visions, et cetera, are. So it really does help.
Yeah, man. I think, and that's a smaller transaction than selling a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house. So especially when you start to scale any sort of acquisitions in your company, it's easy to forget how big of a decision this is for these sellers. And if you could put yourselves in their shoes and understand that, it'll go a long way.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is why you need to have good brand management online.
Yeah.
If I could just tell everybody right now, if you're not running PPC, at least buy your own brand name.
Yeah.
Because everybody Google searches you either after they sign the contract, before they sign the contract, when you leave the house, on the way to the house, they're going to Google you. And like you said, we think of it as, we just buy 25 houses a month. Yeah, it's no big deal. But these people, I promise you, the sweats hit. At some point, the sweats hit. Seller's remorse sometimes is worse than buyer's remorse. And you just something as simple as just making sure yours is the landing page that pops up, not your scumbag competitor that's buying your keywords. Again, this is not part of the sales side. This is more the lead side, but it really matters.
For sure. Like when you look at like our SEO monthly report, so we get, let's say, 300 clicks, right?
Yes.
You would think it's like Sell My House Fast St. Louis, and that's some of them, but over half of our clicks are people searching our company name.
Yep. Brand awareness is everything.
Yep.
All right. So I'm in the house. I see, as I've gotten into this industry more and more and doing my own acquisitions, and really, I said this the other day. I think I said this on a podcast or something, but I was like a drug addict when I first got into your guys' industry for wholesale deals. It took me 2 years to get off of the drug of 20K, 15K, 12K, whatever. It took me a while to smarten up and be like, oh, every single one of these that I sold for 20, this guy made 50 or 40. And sometimes they took a bath, but it all equaled out in the end. It always wins. So walk me through how important it is for you guys to have multiple exit strategies, kind of what your exit strategies are and how that's changed your sales pitches. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of wholesalers get stuck in that wholesale 20K drug type of loop, right? Lucky for Sam and I, we started with rental properties, and I would highly recommend against that, but we started with rentals. So we saw the power of building long-term wealth early. So I will take a quality long-term rental property that's going to pay me $200K over the next 5 years than a 20K today, right? So with us closing on everything and having construction in-house, it's super important, right? Especially with the volume of deals that we have. So we love wholesale. It's 80% of our business, right? Velocity of money, it's really important. But there's times 4 or 5 times a month, we're going to take a house down, spruce it up to a certain level. It could be just plain and list. It could be a full-blown rehab and really go maximize that ROI on that deal. But it's got to be the right rehab for you. So say we buy 28 houses a month. And that's what we got under contract last month. We look at the best ones for us to rehab. We don't rehab the ones that we can't wholesale. What is the perfect fit for us to rehab, which is different for everybody. So what are we good at rehabbing, which submarket, and then we wholesale the rest to people that are better houses for them to go rehab. So we run through a filter. Rental property, number 1. If it's a good rental, we pick it off. Rehab, number 2, and then wholesale after that. So me and my business partner out of Orlando, when we first got into it, really all the properties that we took down were his underwriting. My forte is sales and leads. That's it, right? Not how to do cap rates and stuff like that. What do I know? But after a couple of years, I'm looking at all the portfolio of what's like, and I'm like, dude, how do we have all these properties and nothing's really cash flowing? Like, okay, maybe we had one good month in 1 year with Airbnb where it actually hit my radar. Everything else,
never cash. I mean, when I say never, I'm talking 40 some properties, never made anything that mattered monthly. And I'm like, how are all these gurus saying this? And what are we doing wrong per se? And then we would just start peeling them off because they increased equity. So we had never like really made anything monthly on them. We didn't have to put anything into them, but we would then peel them off a couple of years later. Except
well said. I love
for
that.
one asset class though, that's done really, really well. And that's co-living through PadSplit. I look at what we're making on these PadSplits and I'm like, finally, the American dream came to my portfolio, which is we have some properties that are making clearing $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
It's a 6-bedroom that I'm getting $4,200 a month for, where before if I sold it, it would be $1,600, whatever it may be. So I wanted to know, like, how are your thoughts on that about holding for equity? And then what are your thoughts on co-living?
Man, you're spot on there. So how we acquire and build up our rental portfolio, we got about 50 million worth of rentals right now. We do it with no money out of pocket. So we're buying houses that need a lot of work, value add, and we go refinance. So we put debt on all these from probably 75% loan to value on day one. And with the debt on these properties, you're right. They don't cash flow. I think that's a myth. If you think you are going to be financially free doing the burst strategy in 5 years, it's just not the case.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to live off the cash flow. Especially with us, we want to take care of our stuff. So we would rather put money back into it and treat it as almost like a piggy bank that the equity's growing. And then we could sell it in 5-10 years and make $100,000 instead of a $20,000 assignment and pay less taxes on that because it's capital gains instead of ordinary income tax. So that's how we look at it. And then over time, we'll be able to pay down debt, restructure debt, refinance, and that's when the financial freedom of cash flow really comes into play. And that's on the long-term rentals I'm talking about. One tenant, year or two lease. That's our foundation. That's our bread and butter. But there's so many different ways to go get cash flow now, and it's kind of a necessity with the way interest rates have gone. So you can go co-living, you can go midterm rentals, you can go short-term rentals, and be able to maximize that cash flow. Long-term rental, kind of set it and forget it, a little bit of cash flow, if anything. Midterm, it's kind of in between short-term and long-term. You can rent it out for 3 to 6 months, have some management, but not as much as short-term. Short-term's like, you're renting out for 2 to 7 nights and you got to move out, you got to clean. It's a lot of operations involved there. But if you're willing to do that, the cash flow is the highest. So same with co-living, however much you can split it up, whether it's physically or by the amounts of nights that they're renting from you, the more cash flow there's going to be. But there's also an operational challenge that'll go into that. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head, man. And it's just one of those things that I heard one thing and I experienced another. And I literally, for years, I was just like, we must be like the poorest running management. But also, like you said, we don't run slumlord stuff. Like we always stepped up to the plate across the board. But I really have grown an affinity for this co-living model, and my eyes are really, really open now to at least, I mean, it's just for me, it's facts. Other people might have different facts, but out of my entire portfolio, the only thing that cash flows that's worthy of me saying it cash flows, not just by nickels and dimes, but is our co-living. So, and also too, I think it's a reflection of the economy too, and just how much tougher it is out there for so many people to be stabilized, and they need these short-term, bi-weekly, weekly type rental agreements. And I think PadSplit's done a good job. I want to ask you about comps, if I may. I know we're circling back a little bit, but when you're in your community and people are like, hey, I'm analyzing a property, is it just spreadsheets that you guys have custom? Do you tell them to go to a website? How are they breaking down the square footage and the repairs, et cetera?
Oh, yeah. So, our simple formula is, if it's 100% fixed up and beautiful, what is it going to sell for times 75% minus what are the repairs that are going to get us to that? That's how we start. And then after that, we go into a profit per exit analysis. So maybe spending $100,000 and maximizing the ARV is not the best choice for that house. Maybe it's just taking it down and throwing it on the MLS. Maybe it's a wholesale because we know someone else is going to go maximize that value. Or maybe it's some sort of level of rehab that's in between a clean list in the top level rehab. There's sometimes you can just spruce it up with some paint and carpet, maybe a new bathroom or kitchen, and maybe not maximize that ARV, but your ROI is going to be much higher. So we have that first real basic level. where we're running comps on the MLS, got a spreadsheet, got a simple rehab formula calculator for all of our guys to use. And then we start digging in once we get into can we go up on price, or once we get it under contract, what are we going to do with these things? Then we break down the actual exit strategy of what's the best ROI for each one.
I got a Rockstar friend now, but a previous affiliate, and he's now completely liquidating their portfolio or pivoting them all into the following, which is seller financing, where he's holding the notes and he's taking his properties. And, the way he talks about that is kind of like what I was saying about PadSplit or co-living. Is just like, hey, man, I would never now do this old way. Now I'm doing this way, which is I'm acquiring them at the right price at like sub 200, 225. I'm targeting Latino communities because those be the people who need the most help. And I'm doing it everything by the books in the state of Texas. But I'm making so much more because I'm selling at full retail homes that otherwise would never sell for full retail. And these guys have big cash deposits. So it's 20, 30 cash up front. And so like, I'm really like liquid into this deal. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on seller finance.
I love it, man. And that's the beautiful thing about real estate is there's thousands of ways to make money, and you just got to get really good at a few of them, honestly. So that's not our model, but we've been looking at it a little bit lately, especially with the Latino communities that maybe can't get traditional financing. So you can be that bank for them. So you can buy a wholesale deal. And the beautiful thing is you can pay cash for it. Sorry, when I say wholesale deal, you can buy a house that needs work. You can pay cash for it. You can pay private money for it. And then you can sell it without rehabbing it to someone who is handy. And they'll put a down payment on. You can either arbitrage it and get a higher interest rate than you're paying your private lender, or if you got cash, just figure out the terms. They're going to fix it up for you. So it's going to be worth more than when you bought it one way or another. And then, you don't have any maintenance. You don't have anything. You just hold the paper, right? It's their house. You're just the lender. So, and if they default, you go get the house. Hopefully it's a little more fixed up than it was. And then you either do it again or sell it at that point and make some money. So I love that model.
Yeah. The gentleman I'm talking about, I don't want to necessarily put him on blast, but he's got 400 units and he's just like, dude, I'm literally downsizing, flipping everything that I can into this. He was like, exactly what you said. I'm not doing a repair again. I don't want to run property management again. I just want to hold the note, deal with that legal side, and have my servicing company send them for my payments. And then that's pretty much it. So
I love it. Yeah. You don't get the other benefits of real estate, like the tax benefits and the equity growth. But if you're strictly looking for hands-off cash flow, it's a great way to go.
Yeah. So talk to me about what made you want to, and how long ago, but what made you want to start the FasterFreedom community?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we started it technically on paper in 2018, but it really didn't start getting going until like 2020 when COVID hit. So we got really good at building a portfolio and flipping houses. And we started seeing other people get into the education space with a fraction of the experience that we did. And it kind of started to piss us off a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were like, man, if they can do that and make money, like let's flip the script and let's see how we can do this. So I ran all flipping operations, and my business partner, Sam, I was like, just go all in on this, start building the brand, start building content. Let's see where we take it. So he had, 1 million followers before we saw $1 from it. And then we were like, all right, how do we maximize this? There's obviously a client that wants this type of service. So we just did all free information. And even our course was very inexpensive to start. It's not even bad now. But so then we started off with a local mastermind community. And then once we started getting views from people around the country, we're like, all right, how do we make this scalable and be able to reach everybody throughout the country? So then we started with an online platform and created all our videos and created the community that people are part of. Got a Facebook group that people are just sharing wins, and it's beautiful. And we've created this community. It's kind of like building a virtual business, right? That you're not all in the same office. There's some challenges that go with that, but it's possible to create that culture and community from a virtual standpoint. And it's been a beautiful ride, and it's fun because we have a real estate meetup as well, and people from all across the country fly into our real estate meetups, so we get to put a face to the name in person, and it's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I completely, and everybody out there who's doing deals knows exactly that feeling you had where it's like, oh, this guy's got a course and this guy's doing, get out of here. The thing that kills me the most about the industry is the amount of permissible lies in the REI space. That's like, and then I got like three major ones. The lying, the projected profit number. I want to strangle somebody when I hear those two words beside each other. I do never want to hear the word projected profit if I could again for the rest of my life. And then also guys that got out of the space 2 years ago or a year ago or even 9 months ago, because this is such a dynamic industry. Like when I first got into it, it was just all this way. So I was like, oh, everything just keeps on getting. And then now you start to see these dips and dives, and the guys' strategies truly from 9 months ago, 18 months ago are not the same ones today.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing about us is we are doing it in changing our strategy every single month, and we can teach those, right? We take our systems that we're using and give it to our students. It's a beautiful thing. And on the real estate side, people stopped real estate just to go all in on coaching. And then coaching kind of, education space been a little tough the past year and a half, I would say. So then they come back to real estate, try to make money. And it's just like they're following the dollar when really they should just be worried about providing value one way or another.
And my production team can edit out what I'm about to say. But some of these fuckers, dude, they were going from like wholesaling to AWS to go high level to crypto to what was that other shady crypto? What was art? And then they would bounce back into real estate. I said, God damn. So these guys are prostitutes out there.
Yeah, man.
Blew my mind.
And we just have such a bigger vision for what we're trying to build our company for to do that, right? Yeah, you can make a few bucks this month or this year, but long term, is it going to be the beautiful organization that we want it to be? And that's how we look at it. We're not trying to make money. We are trying to make money today, but also like, what is this decision? How is this going to affect us a year from now, 2 years from now?
Well, the thing I love about communities like yours is confidence is everything. And sometimes, your default, it's fight or flight as a human. And so you get your teeth kicked in, whether it be a sales call, whether it be a marketing campaign that failed. And it's just the nature of life. But when you're by yourself, it's very easy to get on that negative slide down and out.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're in a community, you build confidence because you realize, oh, he's got it and she said it and they encouraged me and I went back to bat and I still failed. But I went back to bat and I still failed. But I went back and I got a base hit. Damn it. I didn't even get paid, but I got further. And that's what I really, really appreciate about your guys' space. What blew my mind is the legit communities out there like yours is all the sharing. Because in my head, I was just like, as soon as I got in, the very first time I got into a mastermind and somebody was telling me, I was like making notes, like I'm going to dominate him out of his market and I'm going to destroy him. And like I had just this wrong, like vicious attitude in the beginning because I was like, how could everybody? And I was like, well, geez, we might as well be in church. Everybody's here just telling everything. So like, and then I got on with the program. It's like, oh, there's just so many deals. There's so much opportunity. You don't have to have even the slightest bit of scarcity mindset in this world.
Yeah, my mindset's everything, man. Like, I'm not the smartest. I'm not the most handsome, but man, I believe in myself. And whatever I'm going to do, it's going to work. Period. And if it doesn't, the next thing will work, right? So, to combat that and to keep people's spirits up, it's not only real estate focused calls that we have. We have a mindset call once a week to get people to get through those hard times. So it's a huge part of what we do. And if you can look at yourself and tell yourself, hey, I'm a winner and I'm going to figure this out, the strategy is just a very small part of that.
I don't know how I get plugged into the urban market, and I don't mean that by race. I just mean it by economics. And I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and my school, I was a minority. It was 20% white guys. And I just remember, I think back all the dumb things that I did in high school to get money or whatever. And all the really shitty houses that we drove by or walked by or whatever that were empty. And I was just like, damn, you know how many kids, like if I would have known about your guys' industry in the 20s, I'd have way, 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 way more M's in the bank than now. Yep. And how many kids out there right now are literally walking by a $20,000 check to go do a felony for $400?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I think we've seen people younger and younger get started in the game, and whether they're students of ours or we've hired probably, I would say 3 to 4 20-year-olds to work within our business. And we want everybody in our business to be a millionaire, period. So we do a monthly team member wealth building meeting to hold each other accountable to what steps are you taking to get there. But I look back on my life. I was a shithead too, Scott. Man,
Yeah.
I was not cool. It probably took me to when I was 22 to even realize what the hell I wanted to make this, right? And I didn't do anything till I was 24. So bought our first house when I was 26. So I started pretty early, but
Yeah, for sure.
man, imagine if we started when I was 20, right? And kids these days, they have a little bit that in them, and it's been kind of cool to see how much earlier they can start from us. So it's been nice to see some good kids out there with a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah, I got an affiliate buddy of mine. We talk almost daily, and his name's John Inman in Miami, Florida. And he was like, dude, I was in Ball Harbor, which is like a really fancy mall in Miami. He said, I'm walking back out. This kid runs up on me and is trying to clean my shoes. Like real young kid. He's hustling. Like, I got this spray and this conditioner. He said he blew him off or whatever. He said, come on. So he said something about him only being 17. He walked away and then he's still pitching him. He turns around and said, you were only 17? And the guy's this kid's giving him rebuttals like, hey, man, I appreciate your shoes, but I do Louis Vuittons. I do this, like, because he kind of like did a little takeaway or whatever. Anyways, they start talking for a few minutes. And obviously he buys the product because he's just impressed by this 17-year-old kid with all this hustle. And he's like, well, how much do you make? What do you do? Do you want to do this? Anyways, he's hired him. And now he's one of the hungriest, best guys. He's still getting the marbles out of his mouth, but he's already getting deals. And it's just like those types of things, man. That one interaction can change it all because this industry permits that type of thing where you don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to be a master underwriter. But if you can have enthusiasm and basic levels of communication and a desire to improve, I really think that you can make money in this space.
Yeah, and it's so fulfilling to find someone like that and be able to elevate them to a place where their life is completely changed. And that has been a big driver of me. And I'm on a mindset like the whole team's getting rich. So we've hired hungry kids. We've hired friends that are badasses and family members. Like, I'm okay with that if I know you can work. And I'm excited to see you become a millionaire. I'm going to help you get there.
Yeah. One of the things I had to get over a long time ago as being a leader with the company, and especially the kids this age, is like, I found at first I used to resent, I don't know if resent's the right word. It used to irritate me when I believed in somebody more than they believed in themselves. Then I realized, okay, well, this is actually what I have to do. Like, for a period of time, I have to believe in them more than they believe in themselves because they've never had this type of opportunity in front of them. They don't really understand what's on the other side of door number 2 if they, in fact, buckle up, work hard, etc. And so once I made that mental shift many years ago, it made it it gave me infinite patience, if you will, to deal with people because I saw myself in them so much before I knew what was behind door number 2.
I love that, man. I think every person at some point of their lives, you almost need someone to believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And you can take that into parenting as well, man. You see my young boys are so damn hard on themselves. I'm like, buddy, you got this, dude. Like, and I think I'm going to look back on that, or he's going to look back on that and just be such a stronger human being. Sometimes you just don't freaking have it.
Yeah.
And it's not always, but it's a day or a week or a month, whatever it is. And you need someone to kind of lift you up to get you out of that rut.
Right now, my daughter's running for class president, and like they just did the vote. So now we're about to find out. This is like elementary school class, but this is the first time. And man, I'm on the fence. Like I got each rebuttal lined up. If she hits it, okay, boom, let's walk through it. But let's, exactly what the expectations should be. And if she doesn't, and I know this sounds bad, but if I had to choose one of the two, I would almost choose the losing over the winning. And the reason why is because that's going to condition her more for the next time that's better, et cetera.
Yeah, I think there's a balance with us and kids, right? To build that confidence, you need to get some small wins in there, right? But if you're always getting these small wins and the path is paved perfectly for you, you're never going to become you and I. You're never going to become the person it takes to have that grit, have that resilience to push through those failures.
Yeah. Dude, I love it. This whole time you're talking and I'm thinking about your community. It's that Zig Ziglar quote, if you help enough people get what they want out of life, you can have everything that you want out of life. And so that's what I appreciate about guys like you who are making a lane for themselves in their community. So for our listeners out there who are like, dude, I like his style. I like what he's saying. He's obviously in the business. So he's not just talking about it. He's living it. how do people find out more about the FasterFreedom community?
Yeah, heck yeah. Just Google it, right? Got an online presence, obviously. On social media is probably our biggest platform where we share all of our free content. So on YouTube, we got FasterFreedom Media. On Instagram and TikTok, you got Lucas FasterFreedom. You got my business partner, Sam FasterFreedom. Both excellent follows. And it's a lot about real estate, but it's a lot about life too. So yeah, reach out to us, hit us up, DM us, or visit our website and sign up for the community.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on here and talking with me about the industry and how you guys are making your impact. And more importantly, man, I guess I'll see you. By the time this airs, though, we'll have already met and rocked it out there. But for now, man, I look forward to seeing you here in just a couple of days.
Yeah, man, I'll see you in Dallas. It'll be a good time.
All right, talk to you, brother. Thank you so much.
Yep, see you.
All right, talk to you, brother.